trumpet of the Lord shall sound, and time shall be no more. And the morning breaks eternal, bright and fair. When the saved of earth shall gather over on the other shore, and the roll is called up yonder, I'll be there. When the roll is called up yonder, 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 I'll be there. Let us labor for the Master from the dawn till setting sun. Let us talk of all His wondrous love and care. And when all of life is over and our work on earth is done, and the roll is called up yonder, I'll be there. When the roll is called up yonder, 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 I'll be there.
Don't worry, I just brought this up to look good. I won't be as long as the others. You might want to talk among yourselves for a few minutes. I'm waiting for my attorney.
Attorney?
I don't know, there's a few things I think we're a little different. Vic left out the part of me following the dog where there was 2 times. Vic took me out in the woods, told me to sit there, and went back without me. And Lonnie, I remember the day we started calling you Mike. That was from Dad. We were riding in that 64 Malibu they had, and Dad says, I'm going to call you Mike. And from that point on, we did.
How old was
I don't know, you weren't very old. Well, it might have been before the Malibu, but I got to put my glasses on, I can't see anything here. But, you know, yesterday at the cemetery, every time I go out to Tahoma National, there's a lot more graves there. Just every section is a cemetery in itself. And you think of that generation, that was the greatest generation. Now we have the greatest portion of our generation, but that generation is truly the greatest. Mom was born during the Depression, then World War II, and Korean War. I mean, times were tough. And especially in North Dakota, you take it up a few notches. But, you know, they learned to do without. And Mom would never spend money on herself. I mean, even at 70 years old, I tell her, you know, don't get me anything for my birthday, but there'd always be money in the card. And, but she was stubborn. I remember my Uncle Dwayne had a shirt. You could always tell a German, but you couldn't tell him much. You know, and she was stubborn. And, you know, there's a lot of parts I learned today. I don't know. I had some medical issues, so a lot of my memory is gone. Parts of my life I can't remember. And I guess Nicole's the family historian now, because Mom talked to her a lot. And I want to thank Nicole. She was kind of my surrogate as I lived 100 miles away. And a while back, something happened. I couldn't drive for a while. And I kind of worried about not being able to get down here if something happened. But you know, Mom, I saw her the week before she died, and this was she gave me a task that I couldn't carry out. And I'll feel bad about that for a long time, but she also told me she wished she kept her car. And she said she'd just like to go out and look at it. And as a friend of mine in Cedar Woolley bought the car, but I asked her, I said, well, if that car was out there, would you try to drive it? And she goes, well, probably. And all I could think of is they were going to have a drive-through post office in Carbondale. But you know, she was big on discipline. I could always tell how much trouble I was in. It would start not too bad. I'd hear fiddlesticks. And then it was, next level up was Octaliba. And then, wait till your dad gets home. Well, that was a mental torture because I knew there was a belt at the end of that day. And the hard part, she would always tell him. So you went through that mental torture all day thinking you're going to be on the receiving end of that belt. And boy, it wasn't over till you went to bed. I mean, but sometimes she would tell, and it was deserving. But I know Lonnie was the favorite. Yeah, he just almost died, so you know he gets a little better treatment. But
I never heard any of those words.
you know, but I think, you know, she wasn't a perfect parent. We had enough secondhand smoke to kill an elephant. I mean, Mom was cold a lot. I remember we'd be coming home from Grandma and Grandma Horton's in Buckley there, and by the time we got to this side of Burnett, Mom, the heater's on full blast, and they're both smoking, and you're back there gasping for air when you open a window. You know, but the thing of parenthood is it's a training ground for being a grandparent. And whatever shortcomings she had as a parent, boy, she made up as a grandparent. I mean, they were her life. And I think we forgot one grandchild is Abby. I mean, she was always over it. Lonnie and Helen's, anytime I showed up. But, you know, she was faithful. And I think Donna Hine, or Donna Scott, next door, had a lot of influence on her. And then when Laura Morgan got a hold of her on prayer, she didn't have a chance. And a lot of you probably remember Laura and Doug Ross, and those were unique people. I mean, even in my life, I didn't have a chance. Eventually it was going to happen. But she did have an undying faith. She prayed for us all. She was a prayer warrior. I probably was on the receiving end. I know 19 years ago, they gave me a pretty short time frame that I was going to be around. And that was 19 years ago, and it wasn't going to exceed 2 years. And at one point, it was 2 weeks. But you know what doctors tell you and what God tells you are two different things. And but I got a verse from Colossians 1:15-20, and this is who she believed in. Christ, the invisible image, or the visible image of the invisible God. He existed before anything was created and was supreme over all creation. For through him, God created everything in the heavenly realms and on earth,